No, I do see more coming. I fly out of Corpus Christi, and sometimes those unaccompanied children are on the plane with me. I hadn't seen any for about 8 months, and then about a month ago, I started to see some kids being transported again.
Congressman Blake Farenthold on our program last night discussing a new wave of illegals crossing our southern border. And according to a recent report by Breitbart, the number of illegals has begun to climb again. That report claims in 1 hour, 70 people, including women and children, were seen crossing the border, and many of those children were all by themselves. Joining us now, the managing director of Breitbart Texas, Brandon Darby. Brandon, hello to you in Lubbock, Texas tonight. It's good to have you with us.
Hey, it's great to be on. Thank you.
Brandon, is this the much anticipated surge we were expecting again over our southern border?
Well, all we can go by is what the Border Patrol agents let us know. So in this case, the National Border Patrol Council spokesperson, one of the spokespeople, who's also the vice president of the local National Border Patrol Council in the Rio Grande Valley sector, told us what was going on and said, look, there's a difference between the general summer surge that we see and what we're seeing right now. And that difference is that we're seeing women and children and unaccompanied minors, and that they're not trying to hide from us or sneak in the country. They're simply crossing, and they're looking for Border Patrol agents. That he said is the difference between the markings of a coming crisis, a resurgence of the crisis, and the typical surges that they see in the summer. So that means that the word is spreading in Central America again that they can come and that they're going to get away with being here. We have to remember that the only reason the border surge stopped last time is because for some unknown reason, I presume it's because the United States, the Obama administration pressured Mexico, but for some unknown reason, Mexico began to stop people from coming through their country. They began to try to catch people and set up these temporary units to catch people and hold people and deport them back to Central America. That is why the surge stopped. So if Mexico is not doing that any longer, or if they've slacked on that temporary effort, then and people are getting the word that they can come again, then we're going to see it again. It's that simple.
And Brandon, as you mentioned this, I think about the court ruling. Much has been made of the press of the fact that first a federal judge there in El Paso, and then the circuit court in New Orleans has basically stopped the president's executive amnesty. But it seems like that's not stopping people from coming right across for the reasons you mentioned. What of the executive amnesty?
Well, this is the thing, though. Like this is where things get tricky, and this is where the administration and media can trick people. Because it is a little bit complicated. There's executive amnesty, and then there's rules. You know, it's like if you compare it to gun control, you have laws that are passed by Congress, and then you have our constitutional rights, what have you, and then you also have rules that the ATF unilaterally makes. So if the president, like he did in the November 20th memo from Jay Johnson, they put that out right as the holiday season was starting, and they did it for a reason. Because media, when the media found out about it and got off on a holiday a week and a half or 2 weeks later, it was an old story, and no one wanted to write about it anymore. So the November 20th memo from Jay Johnson laid out what the rules were for enforcement, what the rules were for keeping people and prioritizing people. And so unless somebody had a massive felony, or unless then there was a rule about keeping those individuals and not keeping them, not which individuals not to keep in custody. So that's separate from executive amnesty.
Understood.
Those are the kind of things that are tricky. That's where it gets tricky.
And that's why we will keep our eye on this. And Brandon Darby, we know you fine folks at Breitbart Texas will do so as well. Sir, you have our thanks. Obviously, you're going to want to comment on this, and now it's easier than ever to weigh in. Here's the way you can do it. You can send me email, Newsmax Prime at newsmaxtv.com. There's also Facebook and Twitter, and then the website we really would invite you to use, newsmaxtv.com/comments. I know you're going to have comments on that story. Hey, want to thank you for your time. For those you see and those you don't, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.